Hey, welcome back to the boat. Today we're going to talk about replacement lighting. Next to the sails itself, incandescent lighting is probably the oldest school technology on a sailboat. It's been around for over 100 years, and the theory goes something like this. Let's run a current through a wire, and let's put a resistor or a filament somewhere in that wire circuit, and the resistor is going to impede the flow of current to the point where it gets hot, and hopefully so hot enough that it glows or gives off light. And that's essentially the way light bulbs work. The sad part about it is that from an efficiency perspective, that the light is the secondary effect of it. Heat is the primary function. The light is secondary. The other problem with the bulbs is, besides being efficient, is they get very hot and they don't last very long. The filaments break, and so these aren't things that aren't very conducive to use in a sailboat. But they've existed for quite a while, simply because there hasn't been a good viable alternative. That's no longer true. LEDs, which have been around starting in calculator lights in digits since the 70s, are now a very viable alternative to lighting in sailboats. And previously you had to replace your entire fixture, but what's happened now is that it's become very common to have replacement bulbs. So if you look at my Beneteau 235, which uses the so-called festoon bulbs, you can now get LED replacements in these festoon-shaped carriers. And so this actually has 6 LEDs in it. And this mounts as an exact drop-in replacement. The good part about it is this uses somewhere between 1/10 and 1/15 of the power that these old bulbs did. The old bulbs were about 1 amp a piece, so you had 3 of them in your cabin. There was 3 amps of power going to light. This uses like 1/10 or 1/15 of that. Also very reasonably priced. You can find them online for anywhere between $15 for one to $10 for 4. The first one being what you'd find maybe at West Marine. You can find them on eBay for about 4 for $10, and that's what I did, frankly. Just into eBay, just search for festoon LED 42 mm, and they'll come right up. And there'll be a couple of different sizes, or power intensities and angles. But if you did like me, I bought a couple, and I'll try several of them out. The other thing that I did is my lights fixtures had a diffuser in front of them that was very, very opaque, and combined with the bulb, kind of cast the whole boat in kind of this lurid yellow color. And I went to Lowe's and had them cut up a piece of plexiglass that was $1 into these 3.5-inch squares. I'm going to scuff it a little bit just to add a little bit of color, a little bit of texture and diffusion to it, and I'll replace that, and that'll probably let a lot more light through. I guess that this blocks somewhere around 45% of the light. This will just block probably about 10 or 20 at the most. So that'll help there too. Now, the other place that LED lights can really, really help on a boat is in your running and anchor lights. On a boat like this with a tricolor, or even worse if you have 3 separate navigation lights, that can be upwards of several amps for that, which runs for a long period of time. Now, this used to be more difficult to replace because there was Coast Guard regulations, there was coal regs around how visible that light had to be, and it actually had to pass some Coast Guard tests. Dr. LED, their 2nd generation light for masthead lights, is an absolutely amazing piece of kit. This is it right here. Now this is $50, so it's a serious light bulb, but considering the old ones were $15 and they lasted a year or 2, less if you trail sailed, and you had to get up to your mast if it broke, this is actually a very good investment. The bulb itself lasts over 10,000 hours, and there's one very intense LED that shines up against this fountain, this plastic reflective fountain that disperses the light in all directions, all 360 degrees. It's visible for over 2 nautical miles according to the Coast Guard, so that's a direct drop-in replacement. And that uses 1 watt of power. That just blows my mind. It's less than 1/10 of an amp, and that will make your boat visible for over 2 nautical miles. So that's a great deal. Now, the last thing I wanted to mention about LEDs is for non-mission critical applications, the little pop-up LEDs, and you've seen these in the drugstores and the like with double-sided tape. Those are great to use in boat in non-mission critical areas. I've got one above my coach roof, right by my companionway slide, that I can hit as the first thing I do when I come in or the last thing I do when I come out, and that allows me to have light in the boat even when the mains and the batteries are off. And it's also a good emergency, and it adds more light if you need it back in the galley. So with that, I'm just going to pick up the camera and show you what I mean with that. But on my boat, I've got that thing mounted right there, and you can see, let me see if I can turn it on. You won't see much light because it won't show up much during the day, but during the night that actually casts a very nice glow in the boat. So that's it for LED lighting, and we'll be back with some more electronics.